As the sentencing hearing for Toronto Police Constable James Forcillo finally comes to an end, we're still waiting for the actual judge's decision, which is to come. It's a useful point to remember not just the circumstances of this tragic case, but also the circumstances of the criminal charge that James Forcillo faced. He was charged, of course, in the July 27th, 2013 shooting death on a streetcar of teenager Sammy Yatim. It was a really terrible loss. This was a very young man who, by all accounts, was going through a bit of a rough patch in his life and had a bad night. On the streetcar earlier, he pulled a switchblade, pulled his penis out and exposed it. All very uncharacteristic. It nonetheless prompted a stampede of frightened people off the streetcar and the 911 calls to police, which brought Forcillo and his partner ultimately to the scene. So there's that, no disputing the tragedy. However, remember the charge. Forcillo was first charged by the Special Investigations Unit, which is the agency which investigates police shootings in this province, with second-degree murder. And for quite a while, that's what it stayed as. Then there was a preliminary hearing, which is essentially a dry run of a criminal charge. The defense gets to see the strength of the Crown's case and a little bit the vice versa. After the preliminary hearing, the powers that be at 720 Bay, as it's called, this is where the police prosecutions unit is centered, came up with another charge. They also charged James Forcillo with attempted murder. It was, in the words of a lawyer, a defense lawyer, I know, an intellectually constructed charge. It was completely unrealistic. I talked to a homicide cop just today who's been on the job as a homicide dick for 15 or 20 years, and he said, who charges somebody with murder and attempted murder in the same single shooting death? Attempt murder is by definition unsuccessful. Sammy Yatim is unfortunately dead. So what was going on there? And I think what was going on there was a bit of intellectually constructing a charge, but also a desire for a bit of redemption, probably, for both the Special Investigations Unit itself and the Police Prosecutions Unit. It's hard to get police officers convicted. It probably always will be. That's because, on some level, the public, who make up juries, recognize that however badly a cop may misread a situation or handle a situation, he is fundamentally different from the ordinary thug on the street who has an illegal weapon and chooses to hurt or kill somebody. So all of that is in the background here, because at this sentencing hearing, what you had was a police officer who was acquitted by the jury of murder. They found that he was legally justified in shooting Sammy Yatim in the first volley of shots. But then, perversely, they found 5.5 seconds later, when he fired a second volley of shots, these were not the fatal ones, he wasn't legally justified. That's what the jury's verdict means. They convicted him of attempting to murder a man who was already dying in the first volley. It's so weird and so artificial, and ultimately, I fear, probably unfair also to James Forcillo.